Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Alvin, owner of Windshine Audio. Let me introduce some of the new product that we carry. The LHY Audio Switch, Master Clock Generator, and Linear Power Supply. These products are available in BitTechnic.com, a company founded by me and my partner. LHY Audio is a subsidiary brand of J's Audio. J's Audio is known for their CD transport, the CDT2, CDT3, and the DAC2. J Audio was founded by J Ho in Guangzhou, China, and LHY Audio is a subsidiary brand of this J's Audio. In the past, you have seen products like this on the market. It's marked as J's Audio. It is a linear power supply that I started selling in year 2013 or 14. I can't remember exactly the year. It was pretty well known in the market, I would say. I was one of the guys that started selling this linear power supply on the market when there were demand of such product in the market back then. And JS Audio decided to create a new company, LHY Audio, and put all this audio accessory product into the LHY Audio brand. This is, I think, somehow to segregate the product lines of the JS Audio to focus in the CD transport, the DAC2, and stuff like that, whereas LHY Audio will focus in audiophile accessory like the master clock generator, the Ethernet switch, and the linear power supply. There are some other products that I didn't show here, but this gives you an idea of who is LHY Audio. Right, today I'll talk about the SW8. It's an 8-port Ethernet switch based on Linksys business grade Ethernet switch. Let me put the other product aside and let me show you the Ethernet switch. Let's look at the back. It comes with an IEC inlet where you can connect the power cord to this guy, a switch to turn on the guy, and there are 8 ports of Ethernet connection that allows you to connect your router, your Ethernet devices to this switch. It is made of aluminium block, I think. It is made out of a complete aluminium block and it's pretty well made and it feels substantial. Let me unscrew this guy and show you what is inside. I already have most of the screw removed, so just a quick job to remove the bottom plate. The bottom plate is made of 3mm aluminum plate with 4 footer. I wish they use 3 footer instead. I'm the believer of using 3 footer instead of 4 footer. Right. Yes, this is made out of an aluminum brick. Look at this compartment here. This compartment here is for the power supply, the AC power supply here, and this compartment is for the linear power supply, the crystal oscillator, and this compartment here is for the Linksys switch. So the power comes in from the IEC inlet, goes through this AC filter here. So AC filter comprises of filters, capacitor that filters the AC noise, and the AC will supply to this encapsulated power transformer, and the power transformer will step down the AC mains, be it 110 or 230, to a smaller AC, and the smaller AC will go through a series of diodes and a capacitor to convert the AC to DC. But at this point in time, the DC is not regulated, so the DC will be sent to this bunch of capacitor and circuitry here for linear power supply. We should call it a regulator. A regulator here to regulate the DC. So the regulated DC will have much smaller ripple current. If you are electronic guys, so you know what I'm talking about. So the smaller ripple current will, in the oscilloscope, you will see a straight line, almost straight line, I would say. So this is the function of the linear power supply here. There are 3 groups of linear power supply right over here. The first one supplies 12 volt to this crystal oscillator. This is not a normal crystal oscillator. This is an oven control crystal oscillator that is essentially oven bake. The temperature here is pretty much constant, so that the output frequency of the crystal remain pretty stable and precise. And there are another two group of linear power supply here, supplies 3.3 volt and 1.1 volt to this Linksys Ethernet switch circuitry here. So usually the Ethernet switch that is on the market comes with DC inlet. So this DC inlet will power up the Ethernet switch. I have one here. This is an industrial grade Ethernet switch from this Taiwanese company called Moxa. So it accepts DC power supply that usually ranging from 12 volts to 24 volts. What this guy does is it converts the 12 to 24 volt DC to a smaller DC with the built-in switch mode power supply inside the switch. Usually it's a switch mode power supply. Not all of them are switch mode power supply, but most of them are switch mode power supply where it converts DC to DC. But JS Audio or LHY Audio remove the DC to DC converter on the Linksys Ethernet switch and replace them with the linear power supply or the super regulator over here. So just now I mentioned it's supplying 3.3 volt and 1.1 volt to the circuitry here because the existing DC to DC regulator on the main board is already removed. This makes us different because of the removal of the DC to DC regulator of the Ethernet switch further reduce the noise generated or potential noise generated by the DC to DC generator. So these are the modification that JS Audio engineer does to this Ethernet switch, beside the OCXO, of course. So the crystal oscillator output, I think, let me see, 10 megahertz. Yeah, 10 megahertz to this Ethernet switch for the function of the switch. Right, so it's pretty nicely done, and we have sold a couple of units to a customer. A customer email and feedback to us that this thing improved the sound quality of the system, and he'll be buying more units from us. So if you ask me whether do you need an audiophile grade Ethernet switch, let me introduce myself a bit. I was a software engineer. I deal with industrial control stuff in the past before I call it a quick and full time in this job. We deal with layer 1 switch, layer 2, layer 3 switches and managed switches, and I know a bit of TCP/IP. Yes, you are right. TCP/IP is a protocol that has this error correction. So error correction can be done in this protocol level where the data transmitted from the host to the destination there's this error correction checking in place. And this checksum and acknowledgement, timeout, and stuff like that in the protocol level is already pretty well done in the TCP/IP. So whether a switch like this will help to improve the sound quality or not, in engineering point of view, I should say it is minimal. Because the protocol level already have this error correction in place, you may not need to upgrade the Ethernet switch. But we are all audiophile. Most of the audiophile are like me, OCD, obsessive compulsion disorder. We want our stuff to be well taken care of. We want the expensive streamer Ethernet connection is free from noise. We want to have the last piece of equipment well taken care of, where we don't have to worry that is this consumer grade Ethernet switch giving me problem? Should I upgrade it? You can say that. Ethernet switch like this that doesn't cost too much money may be a good fix to that OCD mind. That's why we offer this through bittechnic.com. Yes, it does help in a way or another in terms of the noise wise. JS Audio engineer did measure that the noise supplying or the power supply noise that is supplying to this Ethernet switch is guaranteed much lower than the typical power supply that is supplying to this consumer grade or industrial grade Ethernet switch. That is something that you can be sure of that because of the bunch of linear power supply super regulator you've seen here. And also the OCXO built in here can definitely supply much stable and much precise output frequency to the Ethernet switch. Whether all this have an effect to the sound quality or not is all speculation. I can tell you in all honesty. But again, audiophile like me are OCD. The Ethernet switch was the last thing that I played in my system. I have my stuff in place. I have the loudspeaker that I like. I have the preamp, power amp, DAC streamer that I like in place. I have the cables, not so expensive cable. Those are studio grade cable in place. And the last thing I really worry about is the Ethernet switch. The cable that is coming from the router, from my ASUS router in the room beside me, whether is it causing any problem or not. So I thought, okay, let's bring in this LHY switch and put it in the system to give me the last peace of mind. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and give you some insight of my opinion of Audiophile Ethernet Switch. Do subscribe to the channel. I'll be sharing more videos like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.